All of the food we eat and much of the clothing we wear comes from plants and animals that are raised on farms. Farms are different in type, in size, and even in name.
Welcome to Barn Talk. What happens at the barn stays in the barn, but not today. We're going to let it all out for you guys. Today is going to be a hot topics episode. We're going to get into some nitty-gritty things going on in the world, going on in America, but before we get into that, you guys know the drill. If you're new to the show, we have this thing called the fee. It's very simple. You just share it out if you see any value and get any value from the show. So share it out with your friends, family, coworkers, employees, whoever. The more you guys do that, the better content we can make. The more content we can make, the better guests we can have on. It's just a win-win for everybody. Feel free to also leave a review on Spotify or Apple. We are up to almost 1,000 five-star reviews on Spotify, and 380 on Apple. So we're getting there slowly but surely. We appreciate every single one of you that pay the fee and also leave a review. And we love hearing from you guys. If you have any questions for our Q&A episodes, feel free to submit those at barntalkshow@gmail.com. Email them at barntalkshow@gmail.com. That's where we get your questions. You can also leave them on the comments if you're watching on YouTube. And yeah, guys, that's pretty much all you can do to help us. Just keep listening. Just keep on listening.
That was very thorough.
I almost got it down, don't I?
You do.
It's
there
almost
really
like
isn't
it's
anything that I need to say.
Well, shit. I mean, like we've only been doing 82 episodes. I think this is our 82nd episode, 83rd.
I think this might be
83. This is our 83rd episode.
Wow.
So I've stumbled my words enough times on that intro that I think I don't stumble as much.
We're practically more successful than a lot of sitcoms.
Yeah,
a lot
maybe.
of sitcoms don't make it to 83 episodes.
That's true. I saw a stat that said if you make it past episode 21, you are top 1% of podcasts in the entire world because most people give up.
Because it ain't as easy as what everybody thinks.
That's true.
It gets.
You got to put in the work
to it.
Got to put in the work, but none of it would be possible without you guys tuning in and watching and listening and giving us your support. So thank you. Our appreciation is huge. Yes. We appreciate you so much. So,
all right,
you got something on that paper?
Update.
Yeah,
market update.
You gotta just chime in, tell me to shut up, and just throw in that market update.
You know, it's like you just keep talking. I'm like, well, all right, he's gonna say something interesting here before too long,
and then that's where I mess up.
Yeah. Well, it's all right. We all make mistakes, but we'll get through it. Market update. Thanks to Cat's Grain, Washington, Iowa. Shout out to you, fine people at Cat's Grains, for keeping us all informed as to the local commodities. It's not very exciting. The markets have kind of been, if you're a faithful listener to the podcast, the highs have been in, and we're just kind of shuffling the deck chairs here of late. So corn today closed at $5.81, which is down 11 cents. And the best bid locally was $6.46, but those cash bids have not been updated yet. So depending on what they want to do at their basis, I would guess that $6.46 bid is probably 11 cents lower than that, unless they are feeling generous and they still need some corn. Beans the same way. Beans closed $13.64. And that's 36 cents down today. A hard day for the bean market. $14.39 at Quincy and $14.13 in Burlington. And both of those bids don't reflect that down margin. So they're about 36 cents lower than that probably tomorrow when you get that bid. Wheat, $6.47. Hogs, $87.25 per hundredweight. That is the highest. Price in the hog futures that I've seen in I don't know how long. So there might be a little hope for the hog market because it's been floating around in the 70s for a long time. Cattle's just on fire. The cattle market should be the sponsor of Hot Topics because the cattle, that's a hot topic.
You want to get in it?
No desire to get in it, not at all. But if you are in it and you have corn to feed, you're going to make some good money on cattle because Cattle, $163.90, and feeder cattle, $205. If you want to go buy yourself some feeder cattle, and there's some added chirping today. I spent some time working on the spring bird proofing in the barn, and wow, I was so proud of myself. And we came walking up the stairs today, and there's a damn bird in the barn.
There is a freaking bird.
I'm not
here.
very freaking happy.
I was gonna wait to say something after the market update, but this little bastard's running around trying to smack himself against the window, getting out of here. But
well, he got in here somehow other than the window, and I honestly don't know. I thought I had it thoroughly bird proof, but
we need to we need to be like old timers, sit with our 22s and just. There's ever a bird that gets in here, just.
Well, I totally would, except I bought new vinyl framed windows with glass that didn't have holes in it for the two windows at the end of the barn, and I don't really want to shoot them out. So I'll probably end up doing that, but I'll try to catch him at the other end of the barn. Gold, 1994, silver, 2185. Probably going to take the silver off. I'm probably going to quit doing that because silver just doesn't really change. When this whole banking thing started, I thought, man, these precious metals are going to take off. Gold did a little bit. Silver, it don't do shit. So probably going to take it off. Bitcoin, you could make the argument I should do the same thing with Bitcoin. I don't know, 27,000. Can't get any traction. Maybe there's just no money. Maybe that's everybody's playing. There's been enough money sucked out of the investment market that people just aren't. Maybe they're just not buying. I don't know. Ethereum 1825, Tesla 167, and I threw Budweiser in there just because it caught my eye. It was down today, 59.82, which is low. It really hasn't gained anything back from the onslaught of the people revolting against them. But I caught it because on the stock ticker, Budweiser, if I understand this right, Budweiser put out a press release to stock analysts saying that their data suggests that outrage is subsiding, and it's going to be okay. And I don't know if it's going to be okay. It doesn't seem to be, but and the other thing is mower blade stock going way up. I just got done sharpening mower blades. I got to have to go buy another set, and I thought, I don't know who's making all the mower blades, but I bet you this time of year, mower blade stock way up.
I would agree on you on that. One thing I wanted to say is Miller Lite. This isn't on the hot topics, but I just wanted to throw it in there quick. Miller Lite has come out with their own little woke campaign ad, and it was a little better than Bud Light's because they were using real women in this one, but it was a complete and utter feminist campaign ad. It was pretty much saying that the way that we've been marketing beer for years using women in bikinis is degrading women, and we're going to get rid of all that, and we're going to do a new way. We're going to do some new shit for Miller Lite. We're going to market beer a different way using women, not in bikinis. So that was pretty much the gist that I got out of it. People were pretty just upset and just couldn't believe that they took that approach after Bud Light had just massacred themselves. Why wouldn't you just shut up and eat up that market share? They just couldn't help themselves.
They just about had all of the frat boys. All the frat boys that were disenfranchised by Budweiser. They were headed for the Miller Lite, and then they said, what? No girls in bikinis? Piss on that. Yeah. We're going to, I don't know what's left to go to. I don't know. They're going to drink Dos Equis.
Yeah. Well, I did see people say, I'm just going to drink Mexican beer from here on out. Or they said craft beer, so I'm just going to drink my local beer at my brewery.
I don't really care. I just wish all these companies just stay the hell out.
I know. That's my thing.
That's my whole thing.
It's like, whatever. It's a little, I mean, it's better than what Bud Light did. I'll say that, but it's still just, why don't you just shut up and just sell beer?
So far, I don't know of any company selling whiskey that has gone woke. I don't know the politics of any distillery, and hopefully it'll remain that way. So if you get frustrated enough and you get lazy, just switch to whiskey because it doesn't take near as many trips to the refrigerator for whiskey. A lot less, a lot easier on your knees, all those things. So Plug for the whiskey drinkers of America right there.
Yep, there you go.
All right, what do you want to talk about?
Well, I want to kind of start backwards. I think we should start off kind of.
We're going to ease into
Yeah,
it.
we're going to ease into it. So we got 3 topics on the menu today, but
I don't know. You might actually be the most passionate about this last item.
This last one here, we're gonna start with it just because Dad and I, it's in our recent mind. We went out to eat the other day with a couple guys, and we've talked about this before. These chain restaurants or these bars that have like 8 different burgers on the menu, that have all the toppings on them. They got the jalapeno smokehouse burger. They got the barbecue bacon burger. They got the
burger with the egg on it.
Yeah, they got the Swiss burger. They have avocado burger. They have all the freaking burgers with all these different toppings. But at the end of the day,
it's the same burger in all of them.
Same burger, and it fucking sucks. It sucks. It's like a third. It's like a third thick patty. It's a thick ass burger, which I'm sorry, but the smash burger is taken over. I think the smash burger, you can't go wrong with a smash burger. I would rather have a double thin smash crispy burger than a thick burger. They suck. And I don't care how many toppings you put on my burger. If the burger itself with just cheese is ass, all that other shit that you put on it ain't going to save it.
Yeah. What I cannot understand, it's beyond me, is I don't really care. I do think a good smash burger, that's hard to beat. It really is. And the restaurants that are out there that are doing it right, you can't beat it. But, you can if people want, I think these restaurants feel like that they need to give you a bigger, thicker burger because they think there's some value there because they're going to charge you $14 for that burger. Well, that's fine, but at least spend some time and season the frickin' burger. Like, I don't mind a thicker burger if it's got flavor. Like, if you season it when they're blending it, but literally what these guys are doing, they're getting these from food service, throwing them on there. They aren't even seasoning them. Like, they have that burger, you could be eating cardboard. You wouldn't know any different. I mean, and they're all the same. I don't care whether you're talking about a big chain restaurant or a lot of local. The place we were at was kind of like a mini chain. I want to say there was like 6 of them. Nice neighborhood bar atmosphere. I didn't have any problem with the place, but their menu was basically pretty much focused around burgers. Mm-hmm. And that burger sucked.
It wasn't that good.
It was terrible.
It was. I mean, it was mid. It was just mid. It was like I'd take it or leave it. Wasn't?
I think
it was like a 4 or 5 out of 10 to me. That's what I'd give it.
I'd give it 4.
I'm on the impression quarter pound or less on a burger thickness. That's where I'm at because I just feel like you can get a nice char.
Yeah.
You can get the crispy and you can get the char on the burger when it's thin. Yeah. But when you get them that thick,
I think that...
okay, last thing also I'll say about it. When they ask me, how do you want your burger cooked? And I say medium. And it comes back and it ain't medium. It's like it's overcooked.
Right. Yeah, that's pointless for him to ask.
I'm just like, might as well just make this thinner and smash it down and make it crispy and just have it well done all the way around. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Do you think that one of the problems that like these restaurants have in that case is the fact that from COVID, the millions and millions of people that, when we were all eating at home, a lot of people got Blackstones. A lot of people got... there's a lot of different brands, but I have them on my Weber. I have what they call grill grates, which you can flip it. One side, it's a really deep rib. So when you're grilling steaks, it makes really nice marks in the steaks. But you can flip the whole thing over, and it's almost like a griddle on your. So you can make smash burgers. And then I got the weight. You take that burger, you throw it on there, and then you smash it. Do you think that phenomena of home barbecue, I feel like most people that make their own burgers, they do a better job than most of these restaurants.
I would
think
say.
the game has gotten elevated to where people expect more. And that's part of the reason I think a lot of these places have gone to adding all these toppings, like they're trying to make it into something that it's not. Because truly, when I order a burger, I order a cheeseburger with pickles and mustard. That's all I want on it. And a smash burger like that, you can't beat it.
If you got a good sauce with cheese and a burger, and if you like pickles, put them on there. Onions, put them on there. Yeah, it's stupid good.
Yeah.
And I think TikTok, while we were all at home, just TikTok in general, dude, like the recipes you can get on there.
I know.
It's insane. But yeah, I am over it. I'm over the burgers being in these chains, and there's like 8 of them, and they're all trash.
Hey, thanks for sticking with us. This episode is brought to you by the Propane Education and Research Council. If you were recently affected by the tornado outbreak, you'll want to hear this. Our partner, the Propane Education and Research Council, PERC for short, is offering financial assistance with replacing equipment or rebuilding operations from storm damage. Now through the end of the year, producers can save up to $10,000 off of new propane irrigation engines, building or water heating systems, power generators, or flame weeding systems through its double propane incentive program.
To apply for savings, visit propane.com/farmincentive/barntalk. There, you could complete a simple online questionnaire, view eligible equipment and amounts, and see if you qualify for double amounts, which is verified using zip codes and National Weather Service data. Get started at propane.com/farmincentive/barntalk today. Now, let's get back to the podcast.
Little salt, pepper, garlic. I mean, this is how lazy we are as a country. Now then, one of the seasonings that you buy, and I'm as guilty as anybody, and I love it. I use it on everything. Somebody was smart enough to just go, hey, you know what? I'm going to take salt, pepper, and garlic powder, and I'm just going to mix it all together. Call it SPG, call it the rub, call it whatever everybody calls it. It's handy as hell, and if you're making burgers, that's what I hit it with.
Yeah.
Salt, pepper, garlic.
And even if you get a little fancy, you can put a little steak rub on there.
Yeah,
just for,
if you like a little crisp.
If you like a little crisp. That's my thing. So, anyway, tell
us what you think.
Yeah,
There's
tell
gotta
us
be
what you
somebody
guys
out there
think.
that absolutely loves a bland, thick burger and be like, don't be hating on my bland, thick burger.
Yeah, just tell us what you guys think. I don't know. I mean, that's just... And the other last thing I'll say about it is, when I go out to eat, and it's going to be as expensive as going out to eat is now, it should be better than what I'm going to make at home. But
right,
that shit isn't.
No.
At all. So,
no.
And if you're going to get me bacon, put it on the burger. Hopefully you didn't warm it up in the microwave. Hopefully you threw that on the skillet too and made that good. So
we took Mother out for Mother's Day brunch, and they had Bloody Marys, and the lady that served my Bloody Mary asked me if it was all right because they had run out of the larger chunked ice. They were using smaller chunked ice, and she was afraid it was watered down. And I just looked at her and I said, it came and it had 2 slices of bacon wrapped, tight. That was one of the condiments on it. And I just said, I just ordered this for the bacon anyway. I don't really care about the rest of it. And so that's a case, you can do a lot with bacon, but throwing bacon on a substandard, thick, tasteless patty, it won't save it. It won't save it. So you got to step up your game, restaurateurs, if you're listening, got to step it up.
Yep. I agree.
Okay, we got through that. You didn't get half as mad as you were in the car when we were driving home.
No, I didn't.
Nope.
I let it all out on the car ride, and I collected myself, and I had to give you guys my best.
All right.
Calm, cool, and collected. So, second topic we want to talk about here today is border free-for-all.
Boy.
Any of you guys that have been paying attention on Twitter, hell, even TikTok, wherever you're kind of keeping up on what's going on in the world or in America, you've been seeing these videos come out. You've been seeing these people talking about the whole border crisis, and it's been going on for a long time. But recently,
Title 42
went out of, it expired and it was done.
It wasn't
renewed, and that caused a bunch of illegal aliens to come over because the Title 42 was originally designed so when an illegal immigrant came over, we would just send them back. But now that's expired. It goes back to the old way, which was put them in court.
Catch and release.
Yeah, it's catch and release, but we release them in the United States and give them a court date now.
Yeah.
And so...
So under the Trump administration, they invoked this. I think this is right. And the idea was because of COVID, they didn't want those people. They didn't want the illegals. They didn't want to keep them here. They didn't want to keep them incarcerated because obviously it was a big COVID threat. So they could catch them and turn around and send them straight back. And now when that expires, my understanding is if we catch them, which all of this is, to us seems very pointless because they're going to catch them, they're going to record their information, they're going to give them a ticket, a summons, a subpoena, a whatever, a piece of paper, tell them to appear in court to explain whether or not they deserve, what are they here for? Amnesty or asylum or whatever. And you told me that you heard that they're giving them cell phones.
Yeah, I saw a video. They're giving them cell phones, but apparently they're giving them cell phones, but there's no internet access. There's no access to social media or anything like that. Allegedly, that's what is being said. The only reason that they gave them cell phones was for them to be able to text or call, but also, I guess, to keep them informed on their court date or track them. Track them was a big thing. They wanted to track them. So maybe it's a good thing. I hope
they all track phones.
Well, they didn't look like track. I honestly don't know. I honestly didn't I didn't look close enough to it to know. But it wasn't a flip phone. I know that it wasn't a flip phone, and I hope that that's really what they're doing because I think that might be a good suggestion. To maybe track them rather than just release them because we all know that most of those illegal immigrants, chances of them showing up at the court date,
pretty slim.
Probably pretty slim.
Because my guess is, I've tried to find like what's the pattern, what's the migration pattern. In other words, when an illegal person coming into this country gets across the border, Border Patrol stops them, give them their ticket, say you got to appear in court. And I'm assuming that's somewhere in Texas or Arizona, or Southern California, depending on where they cross into the border. But if you're going to Chicago, Illinois, or you're going to Detroit, or you're going anywhere out of there, you're not going to show up. Mm. And it all seems pointless.
Yeah, so they're like, I've seen that they're putting them on buses and taking them to cities.
Yeah.
Because there's just simply not enough room to hold them.
Right.
In these other states closer to the border.
Right.
Yeah, because they're getting in cities like New York, Chicago, all the big cities, San Francisco, all the big cities out there. People are starting to kind of get pissed about it because they feel like us as Americans aren't getting taken care of in certain communities. Specifically, I've seen black communities being really pissed about this because they're dumping illegal immigrants in their neighborhoods and their communities, and they feel like that their own local government or their state government or
they're already short on resources.
They're already shorted on resources, and then you're adding more to the mix, and you're taking better care of the illegal immigrants than you are the people citizenry that are actually creating, they're like, hey, we need help here too. So people are not happy about it, and I think it's also scary that the border is this wide open right now, and it's this big of a problem. Not only because of the illegal Hispanic community coming over, because most of them they might not be bad people, but there are some bad people that are coming across the southern border that aren't just Hispanic.
There's a huge amount of Chinese people.
Yeah, I mean, there are, and don't kid yourself. You don't think the Taliban is licking their chops thinking this is a good way for us to get into America through the southern border? You don't think other countries other than people in Mexico are looking at this as an opportunity to get in here and fuck some shit up? I mean, there's a lot of young military-aged males that are getting into this country illegally from all around the world through the southern border. And that's scary to think about. And that's coming right here in our neck of the woods. And it's scary. It's scary. And that's something that, like, that's the reality of it. It's not just like all Hispanics coming across the border. It's a mix of people. It's a mix of cultures. It's a mix of people coming from all different kinds, all different countries. So that's my one big thing, you know.
So why does nobody want to fix it? Why does nobody in our government?
Because you got to run on it, baby. You gotta run on it, and you got to get people to. Got to create the uprise.
So you think that it hasn't gotten bad enough that the political class in this country, they still think that it's not a big enough deal that they would rather use it as a political motivator than to actually fix it?
Well, Biden's got to get the fucking votes somehow for this upcoming election. I mean, that's my other thought. There's so many small issues just on this one issue. The southern border being open and other people coming from other different countries that may want to harm Americans other than people coming from Mexico. That's number one. Number two, remember when they were like, hey, let's not have voter ID at any of these polls.
Yeah.
And then it's just ironic that the southern border is just wide open and we're letting all these people in. And we're letting them, we're giving them a court date and we're giving them cell phones and we're just telling them, hey, show up to this. And you don't think that maybe they could text that person, hey, vote for Biden. I don't know. But like having no voter ID at these polls is not a good idea. And I think that people could think that, these people might vote for Biden if they're the administration that's allowing these people to come in so easily. Why wouldn't they vote for them to continue to have that happen?
If they're allowed to vote.
If they're allowed to vote.
And the other part that plays into it is, as we all know, you can stack the votes any way you want, but if you flip Texas, if you flip Texas to Democrat, then the math, you can't make the math work. You have a rubber stamp. If you're the Democratic Party, you have a rubber stamp if you can flip Texas to blue. So that is definitely a priority. And I just wonder how bad it has to get. I've made the comment before. Sometimes I just wish that all these politicians would get everything they want. Because it's like, I hope you get everything you want so that, you can take the full credit for the mayhem that you have ushered in. But then I think, well, I think we're almost there, but apparently we're not. And we keep kicking this around, and I don't know. I don't know how long we can keep going on this. But one thing I wanted to say along the lines is it's getting bad enough that a lot of these cities are going to get pushed to the breaking point. And the example that I highlighted when I was thinking about this was New York. There was a story that just came out that New York is housing migrants in hotels, and some of these hotels, I think they must have had a program that they were letting homeless veterans stay in these hotels, or low income rentals or whatever. Well, they're booting them out so that they can put these migrants in there. And the thing that perplexes me about New York City, and I will say this, Chicago has twice the liability that New York has. But New York is number 2 in the nation in unfunded pension liabilities. So they have over $122 billion that isn't there. So in other words, they're $122 billion short of their pension fund. So if you are promised a pension, if you work for the city of New York and you have a pension, and I'm a little over 50 years old, if you're my age or younger and you think that there is a snowball's chance in hell that you are going to have a pension working for the city of New York, you're crazier than a pet coon, because that works out to being $39,000 a household that would have to pay in to get the pension fund solvent. So they have like $22 billion of money in the pension fund. And if the pension had to pay out everything that it owes workers, it's underfunded by $122 billion. Then you're out renting hotel rooms for illegals. It's not
putting the American people first, baby,
it's not
right?
good logic. And as crazy as that sounds, Chicago is over double that. Chicago's pensions are over, I want to say it like they gave the percentage that it's underfunded, and it was like 400 and some percent. Chicago's 780%. I mean, it's a huge, it's like $380 billion or something like that. And if you want to know who's who of bad decision making, liberal cities across America, New York, Chicago, San Francisco, I want to say like Baltimore, Detroit,
Seattle. I don't know.
Portland, maybe.
Portland. Yeah.
I mean, it's the who's who of good liberal.
St. Louis. St. Louis is a liberal city. Number one murder capital. They kill the most people than any other city in the world.
More than Chicago per capita.
Per capita. It's per capita, I think.
Chicago's anyway. We're getting off, but they're spending money they don't have to house illegals, and this tide of people coming into this country undocumented, it's just adding pressure to problems we already have. And I don't know what has to happen for people to wake up. More importantly, I don't know what has to happen for our politicians to wake up. But we're definitely on the road that
I mean, if you were wanting to make this country collapse, would you do anything different than what they're doing right now?
If
you would want to run America into the ground, would you do anything different than what they're doing right now?
I can't. If you had asked me this question 4 years ago, I don't think I would have been able to come up with half the shit that they're already doing to run it in the ground. That's what's crazy.
You asked me a couple minutes ago, why do you think they haven't solved this? Well, because I don't think the left want to solve it. I think they want it to happen. They want to have it open. They want to collapse the cities. They want to inflate the dollar. They want to let in questionable people into this country. They want to cause harm to people. They don't give a fuck. They want to do as much damage as they possibly can because they want this fucking country to fall.
You think that they...
And then come up with the solution, which is socialism.
Yeah. That's...
I mean,
you're making a pretty convincing argument.
I don't know.
Tell us what you think, because I can totally see your point.
That's my thing. When this kind of shit just keeps going on and on and on and on, and us as real Americans doing real work, living in this country, can look at these issues and go, it's just like when we had Todd on the pod talking about COVID. There was probably a middle of the two polarizing sides of the COVID topic that would have probably solved
some common sense.
Some common sense. There was a middle ground, but we never could just get to the middle.
Right.
Same on this issue. There's a middle, but they don't even want to entertain the idea of solving it.
Right.
They don't even entertain it. They just don't. They don't entertain the idea of doing it. And I mean, I will give Trump credit. I mean, he tried doing something about it. Seemed like it wasn't is this bad of an issue when he was in office.
Yeah.
I mean, he was trying.
Well, he built as much wall as he could in the time that he had.
And you can't say he didn't try. He tried. And it's what I can't wrap my head around. It's just like, why don't we know? Why is it so hard to know how that all works?
Yeah.
You couldn't even figure it out. We were researching on this topic, writing it on our outline. You can't even figure out the steps that go into an illegal immigrant coming here. Like, how does it all work? Where do they go after they get stopped? Like, you don't know. You have no idea. I feel like the only way that you can really know is go down there and look. Go down there and actually go to the border and see how fucking bad it is.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Hey, side note, we didn't put this on there, but you're talking about, Trump trying. Did you see that they figured out today after, I don't know if it's 2 years or more, the whole Russia thing with the FBI and I don't know who, the dossier.
It was
Yeah,
bullshit.
it's all bullshit.
Yeah. Yep, it came out and confirmed.
If you're keeping track at home, if you have your scorecard of conspiracy theories proved false and conspiracy theories proved true, the conspiracy theories that proved out true, I think they're in the lead because this was a big one. Everybody claimed that, the Russians were helping Trump and that he had met with them. That whole scandal is all bullshit. And the Clintons were behind it. The Clintons started, and I guarantee you that Hillary will not even. She probably won't even be subpoenaed on it.
No,
but
hell no.
Anyway, I thought that was interesting.
Nope. Yeah, that is interesting. I did see that actually. And we forgot to mention these stats on this immigration topic, guys. So 70,000 foreigners arrive in the U.S. every day, and that includes tourists, people that are coming to this country to check it out legally, come over here. 70,000 a day. Between 8 and 10,000 illegal immigrants are crossing per day. Now,
I think it was hovering around that 8,000 mark, and then when Title 42 expired, we got this bump. And the last, I just saw a story that the last 5 days, it's been averaging over 10,000 a day. So
fucking A, man.
Yeah. So our little town is roughly 10,000 people.
Yeah.
So that many people coming through that border every day.
Yep.
Probably not.
And I don't want to say all legal. Not all legal immigrants are bad people. They're not. They might be seeking asylum, but there's a lot of illegal immigrants that are around here that do a lot of great work, and we'd be fucked. Our labor force here in agriculture be fucked without immigrants. Let's just be honest. But son of a bitch, there's got to be a better way than just saying open the fucking floodgates and welcome home, baby.
Well, the problem is there are so many people that are good people that want to come here legally. However, they've made the system so difficult and so expensive for people that don't have a lot of resources to do the work to get here legally. And then you almost diminish. Well, no, you are totally diminishing those people's effort, because why put in that time? Why spend my money? I'll come here illegally. Now, granted, there's a risk there, and there's people that die every day because you have smugglers and
child sex traffickers.
Yeah, there's all kinds of perils involved with the people that come here illegally. However, you're pretty much just kind of spitting everybody's face that put in the work to get here legally. And that's the other side of it that nobody talks about. If I brought my family here legally and indebted myself by hiring the lawyers and doing all the stuff to get here, I would be very bitter about what's going on with illegal immigration.
Yeah, I agree with that.
You've totally diminished the time, effort, and toil, treasure that that these people have spent of their own money to get here.
It's a good point. It's a real good point.
It's enough to drive a man to drinking.
That's true. Need to drink one?
I don't think we should. Today should be the whiskey minute, and I didn't set a bottle over here.
Well, I guess we'll move on to our second topic.
Well, our second topic kind of plays right into this, because we have a decision coming up. I mean, there's going to be an election, and you're going to get to decide if you're going to stay on the path that we're on. However, in the last few weeks, two things that we'll talk about. We'll talk about Trump's town hall meeting and our thoughts on that. And then the other thing that's very interesting is this backlash that is kind of starting to, we'll see whether it continues, but there's some there's some absolutely terrible polling numbers coming out about Sleepy Joe running for president again. And I was listening to All In podcast the other day, and they floated the idea that, do you think it's a trap? Do you think that they're going to run Joe through the primaries and not allow anybody to debate him? So Robert Kennedy Jr., they're going to say, "Oh, sorry, buddy, we're not. You're just not going to do it." And then just out of nowhere, old Joe says, "I've decided that I like ice cream more than 3 times a day, and I want to spend more time with my families and comb my leg hair and sniff the rest of my family and hug people and hold on a little awkwardly too long. I don't want to be, I want more time with my family. It's too stressful. I'm not going to run." But instead of handing the torch to Kamala,
Because nobody wants Kamala.
because nobody wants her. I think
She's
so.
trash.
Their point was that they feel like that's the trap. They feel like the Democrats feel like they're trapped because they want Joe to run, because if Joe doesn't, they don't want Kamala to run because she's just plain dangerous, because you don't know what the hell she's going to do or what she's going to say, more importantly. So the darling of the ultra liberal side of the Democratic Party is the governor of California, and he's a snazzy guy.
Oh, man.
He's snazzy. He's got good hair and always tan.
I don't even have words.
So the theory is that
I pray to God that doesn't happen.
they'd get Gavin Newsom to kind of step in last minute and say, "Hey, I'll run," and roll him out. I don't know. Do you think that's a possibility?
I hope it's not, and I hope if that did happen, people could just look at his track record of what he's done for the state of California and go, "Yeah, I'm not listening to a word this guy says," because his track record has showed me he cannot run a single state worth of shit. So why would we give him the keys to the whole entire country? He is leftist of leftists. He is socialist as fuck. And he has run California into the ground.
Well, he's running it.
He is running it into the ground.
Going.
It's still running into the ground.
As bad as it is, it can still get worse.
It's bad. And he's worse than Biden. He would be worse than Biden, in my opinion.
He's worse than Biden because he has cognitive ability.
Yeah, he just lied to you.
He doesn't need a handler.
Yeah.
He's thinking up his own ideas.
But he'd be like Canada.
Oh, Trudeau.
He'd be just like him.
They'd be besties.
Oh, they'd be best friends.
Well, I don't know. I mean, that's all that sounds kind of far-fetched, but it begs the question. You look at Joe and you just think about how much time he has before we even get to the election. And then you think about him trying to do that job another 4 years if he was able to win. And I just wonder who in their right mind can look at that and say, "Yeah, I'm voting for that guy."
Hey, real quick, we got to take a little break because I got to tell you something real important. If you guys aren't watching our This Will Do Farm YouTube channel, you're missing out. It's just like this, only shorter and on the farm. Definitely go check it out if you haven't subscribed yet. Give us a like, give us a comment, let us know you came from Barn Talk. And with that being said, let's get back into the podcast. I don't think there is. I truly believe I don't think there is. There is a small majority.
So
Small.
Okay. So here's a question.
Because I think that this Biden doing what he has done for the years he's been in office has just shown everybody truly how good of a job Trump did do when he was in office. You could have hated the guy and what came out of his mouth, but you cannot deny that this country was fucking thriving, because it was. It was thriving. And I think I've said this to you many times. When people can't afford groceries, can't afford gas, are scared where their next meal is going to come from, how they're going to feed their family, how they're going to pay for Christmas presents, and they're thinking about all that shit, young people can't buy a home. Young people can't buy a car. Interest rates are stupid. Inflation is stupid. When all that shit's going on, all the social problems that they try to shove down our throats, it's people just nobody cares because at the end of the day,
they vote with their pocketbook.
They vote with their pocketbook, and when their household is not thriving, they're not making enough money, they can't buy shit. That's all you can think about because it's drowning. It's drowning you. So all the other shit that you're trying to throw at people, all they can think about is what's going on at home. And a lot of Americans right now are struggling, or they think shit's way too expensive, or they're buckling down and they're sick of this economy and they're sick of not having enough money.
Wait.
They're sick of it.
Are you? But I thought white supremacy was the greatest threat to democracy.
According to Biden, that's what it is.
Yeah, it's not.
I don't think so.
Oh well, gosh. I thought
that would mean that. I mean, they're telling us that we're the enemy. We're the worst people. We're white males.
When you get mad, you are pretty threatening.
We're white males, Dad.
I feel intimidated.
We are the ultimate threat.
I'm
I
in
guess.
touch with my feminine side, though. I think I've got a pink and white plaid shirt somewhere.
Yeah,
so I'm okay.
You would put on one of those anthropology dresses.
I would, but I'd be like Tommy Boy. I'd be like fat guy, little dress. Welcome to the gun show.
Yeah, so I just believe that there is enough people that have seen how the country was when Trump was in office, and they've seen what Biden has done, and all they care about is just getting it back. They just want to thrive again. They do. They just want to thrive again, and all the social shit, all the trans, all the elite, all the shit that they try to shove down our throat, gun laws, gun rights, school shootings, that shit is
divide.
Everything is to divide us. I just don't think people care as much.
Overlook your pocketbook.
Yeah, they're overlooked. They don't care.
Okay, I would love to hear from somebody if there is anybody that hears this, because this had to have happened. Is there anybody out there that voted for Trump, then was like, I just can't take Trump, just not, because let's face it, and we're going to talk about that. One of the biggest knocks on him was he just couldn't keep his mouth shut.
Couldn't help himself.
He just couldn't let shit go when he should. Like, it wasn't good enough to just win the fight. He just had to keep going. So there are people out there that voted for Donald Trump. But then, obviously, there are people that then voted for Joe Biden. And what I want to know, is there any of you out there that voted for Trump, voted for Biden, that are now saying, all right, I'll vote for Trump again? I want to know that, because that's what this election is really going to come down to. Mm-hmm. Because polling wise, everybody else behind Trump is not polling all that well. Ron DeSantis, I think Ron DeSantis will be a really good candidate. He's got an excellent track record. Florida just passed the strongest, whatever you want to call, I guess you'd call it anti-illegal immigration bills, and he signed it. They just passed a bill that basically they don't recognize any ID card or driver's license from outside the state of Florida unless you can prove that you are not an illegal immigrant. They upped the E-Verify, and they did a bunch of other stuff. But anyway, Ron DeSantis, I think you could make the case that he's a really strong candidate, but he's not polling all that well. Donald Trump was on a CNN, and I'd love to be in the meetings at CNN, because I can guarantee you there will not be another Donald Trump town hall meeting on CNN. I don't know what the hell were they thinking.
I think they had to get their ratings up, and they knew that would do it.
Yeah,
because they're just tanking.
Because for all intensive purposes, it really backfired on them, because the base of people that love CNN, blood was shooting out of their eyes for the people that love Trump, they thought Trump just did amazingly well. And for the poor woman that, and I don't even know her, but the woman that was the moderator, whatever career she had going, she pretty much burned that because I think they made her
easily
the
tell that she was biased as shit. And she was trying to get it.
Terrible.
Oh man, like, and that I was also gonna say that on my last point. I think also it's a mix of that, of people being tired of not having enough money, but also people are just waking up to the corrupt media. Like, we are so, I feel like people are more aware than ever before of who is saying this to me, what network is this coming from, what's the source, what's the actual reason they're telling me this. You know, there's a lot of people that are waking up to that. And like, when a lot of people watch that, and you could easily tell that she was just
Let's move on.
Bought up.
Let's move on.
When he said something she didn't want and she didn't like the answer, she was trying to move on, or she was trying to just dig a knife into him, and it was pathetic on her part. And he called her a nasty person because of it, and that was hilarious. I personally thought he did a good job. I think he answered. I think what backfired on CNN was the questions that the audience asked him weren't right. They weren't all the way right topics, I guess you'd say. They were questions and topics coming from the left that were being asked to him.
They were more the kind of questions that they would expect just kind of the average person to ask.
Yeah.
They expected it to be more right-wing stuff that they could really jump on and that she could get her finger in. But the other thing...
Yeah, he answered those questions, and he answered them very well. And so anybody that was kind of in the middle, I felt like, when he answered those questions that were kind of middle in the road, weren't super right, weren't super left, maybe leaned a little bit to the left, and he answered them so well, that might have moved people over to pro-Trump. And the other thing that he did phenomenally well, I thought, was he shut up.
Yeah.
I remember watching when he was debating Biden, cringing, because I was just like, man, just shut up. Just stop talking. You got your point across, just act professional and stop. And this time around, he let her stop him, he would just stop talking. And he showed that he wasn't going to let them.
He didn't take the bait.
Yeah, he didn't take the bait.
And I think that's the other thing CNN miscalculated. They thought they were going to get that Trump that everybody saw.
Soundbite.
And they thought that he was going to try to yell her down and keep going, and then they would clip the living shit out of that. And he didn't do it. He didn't take the bait. And that's why I feel like it really backfired on him. And
I'll also just say, I thought he looked really sharp. Like, health-wise, mentally-wise, he was on. He didn't skip a beat. And I just think it's also super funny. You know, you think about this. Think about the line of questioning we ask our active president right now, and how hard we ask those questions versus how they ask Trump questions.
Yeah, totally.
It just shows you how fucking gone Joe is, and how sharp Donald is at his age. Yeah. They don't ask Joe those kind of questions, and don't come nearly as hard at Joe for when they do ask him. But when Trump's going, they're coming and they're throwing the guns blazing, throwing the kitchen sink at him, and he handles it well.
Yeah.
So that was the other observation I saw from it.
So on the CNN thing and on the media thing, I think this is a very interesting. This is a very interesting bit that I just picked up today. So, ratings-wise, Jimmy Kimmel went off on that debate, and you can imagine he's a lib.
He's bought. He's so fucking bought. It's not even funny.
But he went on that he went off about Trump, but then he went off on Tucker Carlson, and I thought that was really ironic, because on the best night of Jimmy Kimmel's show, his real audience is about 230,000 people. His total impressions is about 1.5 million. When Tucker Carlson was on Fox News, he never had a night that poor in the entire time that he was on there. His ratings were, 4 times that much? And the tweet, the video that he put out on Twitter is what Jimmy Kimmel critiqued, what he went off about in his monologue. That tweet, that video that he put out on Twitter has like 24 million views. Jimmy Kimmel couldn't get 24 million views if there was video of him running buck-ass naked down Hollywood Boulevard.
I don't know. That might get something.
It might. But the hypocrisy of the media is, I thought that was just a really good example. Nobody cares. That's the thing. Like, here we are, we're talking about Trump on CNN, but it doesn't really matter because nobody is watching. Like, nobody is watching. I just feel like there's so many of us out there that over the last 2 years, man, there is just so many people that have just gone completely away from you can't even call it mainstream media because it's not mainstream. Mainstream media today is TikTok,
small stream. I think they're small
YouTube
stream now.
And Twitter,
podcasts.
That's mainstream.
That's where
media.
That's where the real people lie.
Yeah, because nobody's watching. And Fox has signed. Fox is done. They made the decision after they lost that lawsuit that they're going to be just like everybody else, and their audience has already gone away, and it's going to continue to go away. And these politicians are scared to death, and that's part of the reason why that's part of the reason that everything's getting crazier and crazier is because it's like to quote, to let my geek out. I think it's something like it's like Princess Leia in Star Wars. It's like the harder they try to squeeze all of us, the more people just ooze out. Their control they just keep losing control because they've had this mechanism built for so long that they could just indoctrinate everybody. And you took what the news said, and you're like, oh, well, that's right. And now they have no credibility.
I think since COVID, people just
they overplayed their hand.
They overplayed their hand, and it's just like when we were talking to Todd. Not only culturally inside hospitals, COVID really had an effect on people, but just culture as a whole. Like, people got, like, that's to me is when I shut it off. Mm-hmm. When I was getting told every single day that the unvaccinated are the problem, every day. I just came across a video on Twitter. It's 3 minutes long, and it is literally anybody and everybody that you think is bought and paid for by the media, and everybody on CNN or MSNBC, it's just a highlight reel of every single one of them talking and saying that the unvaccinated are the problem. Yep. They are the issue.
That's who to blame.
That is who to blame. Like 3 minutes and 10 seconds long of just that, just going and going and going. Jimmy Kimmel's on that video.
Yep.
I mean, just anybody that you think is like bot, they're on there, and it's just people are sick of it.
Okay.
That's why this, not to get all, I don't know, I'm gonna get excited and passionate, but what we're building here at Barn Talk and what's happening just across the podcast landscape, I think it's so important. What we're doing here is so important. We really try to get, when we do have guests on, to try to get real Americans on here, real people doing real shit. And when we talk hot topics, we talk about real issues that Dad and I would just sit and talk about in the hog barn or at the kitchen table, and stuff that we feel like most of you guys are going through too, or you have thoughts on too. And like, that's what we want.
Yeah.
That's how we're gonna come together, and not let the main, I'm going to say small stream media divide us, and not have these corrupt politicians divide us either. I mean, That's why this is so important. That's why we need more of this. You know, we need more people coming together and talking things through, and not saying we'd ever have somebody on here that has a differing opinion than us, because we would invite that too. But we just honestly don't think, like, I don't know, we don't have a big enough circle for that, and honestly, I don't think people would even want to come on the show to talk about other.
Right.
If you know,
we're gonna wait till we have that mini. We're gonna build a mini UFC cage.
Yeah.
We'll
fight it out.
We'll talk it out, and if we can't settle it, we'll have to go to the cage.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
But no, I just was saying that.
So we're
that's
only gonna pick. Torque's only gonna pick small, frail people.
Yeah.
To talk to.
Yeah.
This is off the subject, and you and I have not even talked about it, but I just saw it last night, and I forgot about it. I wish I would have seen it when we had Todd on, but I saw an interview with a guy that works for the life insurance business, and his prediction is that within 5 years, if you are a person that you got vaccinated and boosted, and you go to get life, if you have existing life insurance, whatever, but if you go to either get life insurance and you've never had it, or to add to your policy, you will not be able to get preferred rates if you have been boosted at least once.
Wow.
If you have been boosted 2 or 3 times, you won't be able to get whatever the next rate is. And if you've had the jab and you've had all the boosters, they won't give you life insurance. He said he said it's coming.
Who's this guy?
This guy works for he's part of the, it's a trade group for all the life insurance companies, all the insurance companies, because the data is coming out, because we all die. And all of the people that are dying, all that data eventually, the further you go, the more data you have to sift through. And he said they're going to figure out the side effects from people, because obviously you've got a demographic of people that are going to die that have not had the shot, or have only had the shot and no boosters, or blah, blah, blah. And then you got this group of people that have had all of them. And eventually, they're all going to die.
The numbers aren't going to lie.
And you're going to have the numbers aren't going to lie. And he said when you get far enough down the road...
He predicts. He's predicting
That's his prediction, right? This is just what I heard this man say. He said the data is so glaring that the insurance companies, they will have no choice but to say, sorry, you're either going to have to pay more, or in your case, Mrs. Karen... you ain't getting any insurance because you're a horrible risk. You could drop dead tomorrow.
Yeah.
So I just thought and that's the thing about history. All this shit, eventually, it's just like that shit that came out about Trump and the Russians and that dossier and all that. If you just, sooner or later, it's really hard for people to hide shit forever, and it's all going to come out. And I think the whole scam of this, whatever you want to call it, by big pharma, I think it's going to come around, and it's going to bite a lot of people in the ass. So.
Yeah, I saw. This is off subject, but I saw.
We're kind of off subject.
Yeah, we're kind of running in circles, but it's all right. That's what makes podcasts good. I just saw a quick tweet that Donald Trump said that if he is elected president, he's going to release all the JFK classified documents.
Yeah.
I don't know if he can make that happen or not, but I think everybody can kind of. When you were talking about the truth always comes out.
Yeah.
Just release the documents already.
Yeah.
And we all know he got killed. The CIA and FBI are involved. I mean, there's people that have come out and said that CIA and FBI and maybe the mafia are all involved in his death. But that to me is one of the scariest things about this country is these agencies that are supposed to fight crime and, FBI and CIA. There's a lot of corruption in those fucking agencies. That's scary as shit.
And there's not near enough oversight.
Jeez, I mean, you think like anytime you watch a crime documentary, and I'm not a big crime documentary guy, my girlfriend is, there's a lot of guys out there probably can relate to that. But if I do catch a glimpse of somebody talking, it's usually an FBI agent. And you're like, well, they're fighting good. But then you got situations like that where, geez. And then like the whole Twitter thing, like the FBI and CIA are involved in.
Yeah, they had their own
division in Twitter and like
Twitter.
Censoring people, and it's like, geez, guys, what the hell?
The Saudi Secret Service had a guy on the payroll too. What do you think of the new Twitter CEO?
Oh man, I'm not sold on her yet, and I don't think you are either. I don't know what Elon was really thinking there. I don't know if he was saying, I'm gonna just try to show people I'm middle of the road and I don't pick sides, which I think he is, but. She's pretty, from what I've seen about her, she's pretty left of the aisle, and I'm not saying that makes her a bad person. She can be the best damn CEO Twitter's ever had, but we can't go backwards, Elon. I don't want to go backwards. I love what Twitter's doing. I love that it's a free speech platform. I love that people are able to put whatever they want on there and not get censored or not get, not like they don't destroy their reach. They get shadow banned or whatever. I like the direction that Twitter is heading. And so if she's going to continue to carry that on and continue to make it what it is today and make it better, I think I'll like her. But if she's going to try to inject woke ass shit into Twitter, I'm not going to like that.
So I'm going to tell you the story that I'm telling myself.
All right.
The story I'm telling myself is that Elon's known her for a while. There's a history there.
He doesn't have kids with her, right?
No, he doesn't. I don't think so.
He's got like 9 kids.
He does have a lot. He is on
the plan of repopulating the earth. He's doing his part.
100%.
He is doing his part.
He's more worried about not having enough humans instead of having too many. Yep. But I think that there's a chance that she got down the rabbit hole of the woke liberal deal that she was in, and that she really is looking for a way out, and Elon's given her that way out. That's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping that she has been in a position where she got into this mess and she's part of it, and she woke up and was like, oh boy, and Elon is giving her a way out.
Well, I hope that too. At the end of the day, if she just runs Twitter like a CEO and she does a good job, that's what I'll base my opinion on her on. But for right now, I'm undecided, and I just hope that she doesn't put in her LinkedIn profile that she's the first woman Twitter CEO. I hope she just says I'm the Twitter CEO and just does a good job at being the Twitter CEO, because that's ultimately what matters, and that's ultimately what people want.
Yep.
So
I just want people to do a good job.
I don't give a shit if you're a woman. Just do your thing, girl. And if it's good, we'll support that.
Yep.
So that's all I got to say. Man, we went on some subtopics there. Kind of segued.
Very therapeutic.
Yeah, it is. It's good to let them out, isn't it? Just good to let it out sometimes.
Now I can go sharpen another set of blades.
Hop on that mower.
There's still sunlight, so I don't know where it was that we all decided that as farmers that we needed to just mow every inch of the world that is around our property.
Never ends.
I guess I'm not going to be the one to stop doing it. So
how's the corn look?
Oh yeah, beans are up too. Beans are up. Corn is up. So our corn that laid in the ground for 3 weeks, it made it, and the stand is good. There's a few places. There's some population that probably took a hit, but not near enough for me to want to get the planter back out and tear it up and redo it. And we finally have had some warm weather, and our corn on corn ground, that came up lickety split because we had some good warm weather and stands look good. So right now, I'm real happy. Things are off to a good start, and won't be too long, and we'll be out trying to decide if we're going to side dress, and we probably will. And it's like David said, it'll all be great till it's not, and then we're all like, well, we need one more rain. Mm-hmm. And then we won't need one more rain after that. Oh, we don't need that much rain.
Yeah.
So,
Well, it's like we said. I think that these hybrids have gotten so good now that I'd rather have a dry year than a wet year.
yes, 100% right.
I'd rather have it not be too wet than too dry.
That's right.
We've gotten through some pretty dry years, and our yield has been decent.
Dry performance in these hybrids has been amazing.
Yeah.
I can't. It's just crazy. But our land, we have some pretty heavy soils, and we will do much better with it a little too dry rather than a little too wet. And so,
I drink to that.
I would drink to that, but I didn't bring anything to drink. We kind of got off the whiskey train. We need to have a whiskey sample. I got a few bottles that I need to set up.
We'll try one next episode. How about that?
Next episode, we'll
have a whiskey minute.
We'll do a Q&A, and we'll curtail the market update, and we'll add in the whiskey minute or whiskey 5 minutes, or if we do it at the beginning, we could have a whiskey hour.
There you go.
And then the conversation could get really interesting. So until next time, folks, stay sassy.
Oh, man. That's your Vegas voice. That's what happens if you go to Vegas and you get too wound up.
That's right.
All right. Well, I think that's going to wrap it up, guys. We appreciate every single one of you guys that have been tuning in. Feel free to pay the fee. Share it out if you got any value, if we made you laugh, if you related to us on something. Leave your review on Spotify or Apple, and we will see you guys back here next week for another episode.